Welcome to practice. If you follow me on social media, then you might be aware that I have been recovering from a pretty severe cervical, neck, and shoulder injury. And so my practice has looked really different these last few months. I've been going back to some of my roots as a mat Pilates teacher and combining a lot of stabilizing work into my yoga practice. And it's been so helpful to some of my older clients and then my yoga students that are hyper flexible. And so I wanted to offer you one of these practices. We're still going to put the mindfulness of a yoga practice into our work, but we're going to incorporate some movements from other disciplines. If you want to ramp things up today, I recommend you have a set of 2 or 3 or 5 pound weights, but you don't need weights. You can do all these movements creating your own resistance. I would also like you to have a couple yoga blocks and then a couple towels or yoga blankets to sit it on. So if you need to, grab your props, hit pause, and then join me again. Once you arrive back on your mat, go ahead and elevate your seat on top of a couple blankets or towels. We want to elevate the pelvis above the knees. In Chinese medicine and in Ayurveda, we can talk about the lower body as our waters, and we want the water to drain down so we can get rid of that sense of edema or heaviness in the lower body and instead find some buoyancy and rise. And then once you are on your blankets or your towels, I want you to lean forward onto your fingertips and then poke your tailbone back behind you so you're arching your back a little bit, and then plug your perineum into the earth and sit back up. And this is going to make you feel like you're pitched a little bit forward, but what it's doing is putting that crest and a fall of a wave in your lower back so you can really find some rise. The perineum, the pelvic floor, is like a plug in a socket. So you have the pubic bone and the 2 sitting bones, like a 3-prong electrical outlet, and then it's plugging into the core of the planet. And then lift and elevate and rise up through the crown of the head. I want you to take your armpit slightly forward so you're broadening across your chest and across your upper middle back. And then just place your hands on your legs. And we're going to start with a little bit of visual orienting to really land you in your body, and then we'll dive right into our workout. So this part's important. Let your neck move with your eyes. I want you to just start to take in your space. Look around the room that you're in, letting your neck move with your vision. And as you do this, feel into the body. Mind, body, breath is just a platitude unless we do it. And this is one way that we can really connect with our embodied experience. And then when you're ready, let your vision rest on something in your space that is calm, neutral, or pleasant. Let your vision rest on something calm, neutral, or pleasant. I am looking at one of my favorite Helma Klimt paintings that is hanging in my studio space and enjoying all the color. Be aware of the sensation in the body. You might feel a heaviness in your seat or your legs. Body might involuntarily sigh. Just one more moment here, connecting, feeling, being. Good, and then welcome back. One of the big tricks in life is to understand that we do so we can be, not so we can just keep doing. And even a practice like this is designed to up your function so that when you're just being, you feel better. We're going to dive right in. So slide those blankets off to the side. And you're going to come onto your back and bend your knees with the soles of your feet on the floor. Take your hands and make a triangle with your index fingers and your thumbs touching. Place the fingertips on the pubic bone and the heels of your hands on your frontal hip bones, which are also called your ASIS. Now here, when that triangle is flat, we're going to call this neutral. Now it's not entirely true that this is what a neutral spine is for every person, but for ease of conversation, we're going to call this the natural curves of the spine, when that triangle is nice and flat. So this part of the low belly and the pelvis is like a bowl. So now I want you to image that you are pouring the water towards your feet. So arch your back, take a breath in, and let the water spill towards your feet. Good. Now contract your lower abdominal muscles, the space between your navel point and your pubic bone, and pour the water towards your belly button. So now you're imprinting your lower back into the mat. And feel that little contraction of the transverse abdominals. Those are your deepest layers of muscle fibers in the abdomen. Good. And then go the other way again. Arch the back. Water is pouring towards the feet. Please continue like this and keep your hands on that pelvic bowl so you can really connect to the movement. As you breathe in, arching the back pubic bone towards your heels. And as you exhale, contracting the low abdomen and tucking your tailbone, imprinting the lower back. 2 more times like this. Arching, and then contract the low belly, squeeze, pull the lower back to the mat. 1 more time. Arch the back pubic bone away from you. And then exhale, pubic bone towards you, contract the low belly. Good. Come back to what we called a neutral pelvis. And again, that's that triangle shape is nice and level. You're not spilling the water in any direction. Now, this is a little trickier. We're going to play with the elevation of the left and the right sides of the hips. So I want you to think that your pubic bone is 12 o'clock, your navel is 6 o'clock, your left hip bone is 9 o'clock, and your right hip bone is 3 o'clock. So you can image that there's a clock face here. Now, I want you to push into your right foot, nice and subtle, and your right frontal hip bone is going to lift a little bit. Your butt's still on the floor, but it's just a little sense of elevation. And there'll be a little contraction on the inside of the right frontal hip bone. And then switch sides, push into your left foot. So now the right hip bone drops. And now go side to side like this. And see if you can keep your knees right in line with your hips so you're not letting them move side to side. Now, these might seem like really subtle or unimportant movements, but learning to control your pelvis independent of your lower back is really critical to your overall mobility and health. Articulations or joints in the body all have a joint on both ends. So for example, your femur bone is part of the knee joint, and then it also forms the hip joint. And you want to be able to move those 2 joints independently of one another as much as possible. And the more the individual parts of yourself are mobile, the overall structure of the whole organism that is you will have better mobility. So continuing to push side to side. Good. Now stop in the middle, and we're going to put all the movements we've done so far together in what's called a pelvic clock in Pilates. But we're going to minimize the movement in the lower back and really isolate it to the pelvis. So hands in that triangle shape once again. Let's start by arching the back. So find a little arch, pubic bone away from you. Now push into your left foot, drop the right hip. Good. Now scoop and pull the pubic bone towards your navel center using your low belly. Now push into your right foot. Let the left hip drop. And then arch again, pubic bone away from you. Push into the left foot. The right hip will drop towards the floor. Pubic bone towards your navel. Squeeze the low belly. Push into the right foot. Drop the left foot. Very good. You've probably got a hang of it now. Now make that movement a little smoother and see if you can really articulate as if you were scooping through all of the numbers on the clock face as you rotate through the pelvis. So good. And then change directions. This always throws me off a little bit for a second. So we were going clockwise, and now we're going counterclockwise. Just spinning around that pelvic bowl. And you should feel quite a bit of activity in the lower abdomen. Not to be shooting all over you, but if you're doing this well, there's going to be a contraction in the low abs. So nice. Good. Pause in the center and find that neutral pelvis once again. So now we're really going to target activating these low belly muscles. Put your fingers on them so that you can really feel they're active. If you're struggling to maintain this curve under the lower back, you might roll up a small towel and pop it under your low back so you can feel when you're accidentally imprinting your back into the mat and compensating using other muscles in the body that I don't want you using right now. So contract these muscles so that you're nice and steady here, and you're going to try to relax your hip flexors as much as possible. Relax your shoulders, your neck, your face, and now pick your right foot up off of the floor. Squeeze that low belly. Good. So the knee is coming right over the hip, and then lower the right foot back down to the floor. Minimize the shift, so I don't want any shifting side to side. Pick your left foot up off of the floor and lower it back down. Good. This is called pelvic marching. Start going side to side, really just isolating the low abdominals. Again, now we're controlling the movement of the femur. So this is called hip flexion. We're flexing at the hip, and we're using our low belly to keep our back stable. Couple more. Feel some nice heat starting to develop in the lower abdominals. This is really good movement for balance. This is very connected to your yoga asana practice and to the ways in which we stabilize different yoga poses. Good. One more set. And then pause with both feet on the floor. Very nice. Take your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg along the floor. Give that a little squeeze in. And now interlace your fingers behind your right thigh bone and stretch your right thigh up to the sky. Good. Push your hands into your thigh and your thigh into your hands so you're creating a little bit of resistance for yourself. Left leg is nice and active on the floor. Good. From here, release the clasp on the right leg, but keep the right leg lifted. Point your toe towards the sky, point your left leg. And now take the leg till you can maintain the curve in the lower back. So you don't want the leg so close to you that you're imprinting into the mat. So keeping that, again, that little tunnel under the low back, point both toes super strong in the legs, relax your shoulders and your neck. Now you're going to minimize the movement in the pelvis. We're going to make a tiny circle with our right foot, like your leg was a pencil and you were drawing a circle on the ceiling, but I want you to barely move so the whole body is quiet other than the movement of the right leg. Start to trace a tiny circle on the ceiling. You'll feel this in your low belly an awful lot, as well as the right quadricep. Keep firming your left leg that's extended on the floor. Keep squeezing your belly. Breathe, tiny circles. It's going to be really small if you're taking a nice controlled movement. Good. Change directions now. Teeny tiny circles with that right leg. Very good. So nice. Pause in the center. So good. Now lower that right leg down. Lower it to meet the left if you can. And then squeeze and lift it back up. Lower the right leg down. Squeeze and lift it back up. 2 more. Lower the right leg down. Squeeze and lift it back up. Last time, lower the right leg down. Squeeze and lift it back up. Pull the right knee back into your chest. Pull the left knee in and switch legs. Right leg stretches long now. Interlace your fingers behind your left thigh and stretch your left leg up to the sky. Point both of your, we won't point on your toes yet. We'll take the stretch first, pardon. Push your thigh into your hands and your hands into your thigh, creating a little resistance. Just opening up the back of that left leg. A little recovery moment. Good. Now release the leg, point both toes, and again, contract your low belly. So I used to have a physical therapist that would say, make pita bread. So as much as you can, pull the abdomen nice and flat, and as best you can. Of course, we all have different amounts of flesh on our bodies, and that is beautiful and wonderful, but best you can image that internally, at least, there's this sense of trying to make a pita bread structure via the contraction of the abs. And what I mean by that is because often what we do is when we come up in like a sit-up or something, we allow the abdomen to bulge, and so the muscles pop up, and we're creating this sense of corseting and narrowing everything in. Point both of your toes, super strong legs, still the body other than the movement of the leg, and start to draw your tiny circles. Again, image that the left leg is a pencil, and you're just drawing a little circle on the ceiling. Good. Change directions. So nice. Teeny tiny circles, both legs super strong and active. Good. Pause in the center. This time, lift and lower the leg. We'll do that 5 times, and we're going to add on. So lower the leg and squeeze it back up. I'm getting so excited. I'm trying to move on to our next exercise. So lower the leg and lift it back up. Lower and squeeze. Last 2. Lower and squeeze. Last 1. Lower and squeeze. Good. Interlace your hands behind your left leg once again. This time, curl your head, neck, and shoulders up so you're grabbing for the calf. And if that's too difficult, you can, of course, keep a hold of the thigh. Now, lift your right leg off of the floor. Contract the navel point back. Lift your chin a little bit. Lift your sternum. Give it a little pulse, and pump your breath out. Shh, shh. And now switch legs. Shh, shh. Again. Shh, shh. Shh, shh. Keep going. Shh, shh. Shh, shh. Nice strong breath as you do this. 4 more sets. Good. 3. Last 2. Last 1. Right and left. Good. Both legs up and pull your knees into your chest. Make little circles with your knees. Good. You're doing a wonderful job. We're going to roll over onto our side now and work the legs a little bit more. So coming onto your right side body, we're going to start with a nice generous bend in the knees. So you're going to stack your left hip over your right and find a 90-degree bend in your knee. So your shins will be parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then stack your forearm directly underneath of your shoulders. And then rather than collapsing through the right side body, I want you to lift your right side body away from the floor, assuming you're on your right side. If you're not, flip over onto your right side. That would have been a nice instruction, huh? Good. Now from here, you're going to take your left arm, that's your top arm, and bend your elbow into your side so your palm is coming towards your face. Good. You're going to lift your left leg up so that it's just hovering above your right leg. And now reach your left arm and your left leg away from each other. So I'm stretching through my left fingertips, stretching my left leg back. And now pull the elbow back in. Pull your knee up into your chest and go the opposite direction. So always the arm and the leg are moving away from each other. Reach it long again. And now pull back, squeeze the belly. Again, reach long, pull back and squeeze the belly. Reach it long, pull back and squeeze the belly. This is a place where if you wanted to, you could grab that weight in your hand, pull. Reach it long, pull. I've grabbed my little 3-pound weight. Good. So I'm rotating through my shoulder, palm down to palm up. Now that I've got my weight in my hand, pull. 3 more. Pull back. 2. Pull back. Last time. Reach it long. Pull in. Good. If you picked up that hand weight, just set it aside right up at the top of the mat. And now come to lie down on your right side. Rest your ear on your bicep, palm towards the floor. Good. From here, you're going to keep your legs glued together, nice and strong, your feet glued together. Squeeze your butt. So find a little sense of contraction in the glutes, and now bring your left fingertips to the floor. Keep the left hip stacked on top of the right. Now we're going to lift up the left knee in a little clamshell. I only want you to go so far that you feel the glute without getting your hip flexor involved. So that's the front of the hip here. Hold it and squeeze. Good. Tap the knee down, lift and squeeze. Tap the knee down, lift and squeeze. These can be sort of terrible for a lot of people. Really squeeze your butt, contract your abdomen. So I'm not resting here, right? I'm still thinking about lifting my right side body away from the floor, and my left hand is not being used as a kickstand. Good. 8, 7, 6, lift it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, lower it down. Nice job. Extend your left leg so that it's parallel to the floor. Right leg is staying exactly where it was. Lift your right side body away from the floor. Flex your foot so your toes are coming towards your knee, and now turn your heel towards the sky and your toes down. Lift your left leg up without hinging through your waist and lower it down. Lift it up and lower. Lift it up and lower. So what's super important here is that I keep my abdomen nice and strong, and that as I lift, I'm not hinging through my side body. Again, I'm really isolating the movement into the hip. 5, last 4, nothing too crazy. 3, it might be burning though. 2, good, last one. Nice, keep the leg parallel to the floor, and now point your toe. Keep lifting through the right side body and make tiny circles again. Super small because I don't want your body coming with you. It's just the leg that's moving. Little controlled circles. Pilates was once called the control method. Pilates is named after Joseph Pilates. And originally, he called it the control method because part of the purpose behind all this, again, is really learning to isolate and control. And this is important because when you see fluency, like a dancer or a gymnast, that fluency is not coming from the flow that it might look like it's coming from. It's because they have such good control over their joints and their body. Change directions, tiny circles. Learning to control all the joints, getting nice and strong in all of our independent joints is what allows us to flow. And this is true in a yoga practice as well. That's where we get the currency from and the ability to move with grace. Grace comes from effort. Good. Pause and lower that down. Very nice job. Come back onto your back once again. And that left leg that you just worked, take your left ankle across your right knee, flex your left foot, open up the hip. And now draw that figure 4 shape into your chest. Little stretch. Again, pay attention to your breath. Notice if you've sort of checked out of the building, also known as your body. And can you come back in and be present for sensation? So holding that figure 4 towards your chest, opening up that left hip. One more big breath. So nice. Lower that shape back onto the floor, uncross the legs. Take one of those blocks that you have and put it the long way between your thighs so that you have maximum block to inner thigh connection. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten your other side. We're going back. Good. Squeeze the block. And now I want you to tuck your tailbone slightly underneath of you so you imprint your lower back into the mat. And now lift your butt like 1 to 2 inches off of the floor. So I want your lowest ribs to still be glued to the mat. And there's a big contraction in the low belly. I call the inner thighs the gateway to the core because you'll feel as you squeeze the block, the transverse abs, the lower abdominals, and your pelvic floor light up and engage. So squeeze those blocks and now dig your heels in and pull them towards you energetically. So you're not actually moving them, it's creating an isometric contraction. So the hamstring and the base of the seat is engaged. Now from here, we're gonna go up 1 inch, down 1 inch, up 1 inch, down 1 inch. It doesn't look like we're doing much, but if you're contracting your low belly the way that I asked you to, and if you're pulling your heels towards your butt, isometrically contracting the hamstrings, and if you're squeezing that block, this is gonna feel like a ton of work. Little pulses, up, up, up. Good, little lift. You'll feel the base of your seat working, the hamstring, the inner thighs. Good, really targeting the whole of the lower body right now and the abdomen. Again, try not to check out of the building. Keep your breath moving. Keep tuning into your embodied experience. To be embodied is to be aware of the sensations that alert us to the presence of the body. Good, little pulses. Keep breathing. Might be starting to burn a little bit now. We're going to do 15, 14 more, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and we're going to hold 4, 3, 2, hold it up, squeeze the block, drag your heels towards your butt, take a nice deep breath in, exhale, 2 more deep breath in, and exhale. Last big breath, squeeze everything, breathe in, exhale, and lower everything down. Remove the block from between your inner thighs. I'm going to spin around to face you. We're going to come to lie on our left side and do the other side of those side body movements. I'm going to have to move the mic back. Okay, so we're going to start on the forearm. Again, you're going to bend your knees so that your shins are parallel to the floor and you're nice and stacked here. I'm going to grab my weight. Again, if you're using a weight, you can grab that light weight. We'll start without it and then I'll pick it up when I'm ready. So we're not collapsing into the left side body. Pull the left side away from the ground. Contract your navel point. Take your right palm and flip it towards your face. Hug the elbow back. Now from here, I'm going to reach my right leg away from my right arm. So I'm cross moving, stretching from fingertips to toes. Now I'm going to flip my palm, squeeze my elbow back, pull my knee to my chest. And you can move at a pace that's appropriate for you. I recommend you do the first couple slow like I am, so you can feel into the stretch, into the contraction in the belly as you work. And when you're ready, you can pick up the pace a little bit. I'm going to pick up my weight, squeeze, reach long. I'm kicking over my blocks, squeeze, reach long. Keep lifting through the left side body. Pull the elbow back. Let's do 8 more. 8, 7, 6, pull it in. 5, 4, last 3, last 2, last 1, pull it back, squeeze. If you use the weight, set it down, stack the shins, and come to lie on your left side. Again, we really want to make sure that we're lifting through the left side body, so pull your left side of your waist away from the floor. Keep your feet together, lift the right knee up in your little clamshell, and lower it down. As you're doing this movement, it's really important that you keep the right hip stacked on top of the left so you're not letting it shift backwards. Lift it up and lower, up and lower. Good. How about 8 more? 8, 7, squeeze the belly. 6, 5, you can do it. Last 4, 3, 2, last 1, lower it down. So nice, straighten the right leg so it's parallel to the floor. I'm going to kick my blocks out of the way again. Maybe you need to too. Good. Point your toe and then flex it and then turn your heel towards the sky and your toes down. So it's a different part of the glute. Lift your left side body away from the floor. And then again, we're not going to hinge through the waist. Lift the right leg up and lower. Lift it up and lower. Super controlled movement. Good. For 8, 7, 6, 5. This is my more troublesome leg, so it's burning. 3, 2, and 1. Hold the leg parallel to the floor. Point the toe now, and then little circles. And again, you can bring your right fingertips to the floor. Just make sure it's not a kickstand, so you're still lifting away from the floor, isolating the movement in the leg. Change directions. Good. Small little circles. Very nice. Last 1. And lower it down. Very good. Come on to your back once again. Pardon me while I move this little mic pack. Good. Back onto your lower back again. Take your right leg, cross your right ankle across your left knee. Oh, it's going to hurt so good after all of that. And if you wish, pull that figure 4 shape to your chest. Couple nice big breaths here. Opening up the right hip. Good, deep breath. Very nice. Uncross the legs. Take your feet as wide as the mat now. We have one more little exercise here, and then we're going to come up off of the mat. Turn your heels in and your toes out. And then same thing, imprint the lower back. So push your lower back into the mat by contracting your low belly and tucking your tailbone. You'll already feel your glutes active. And now lift your butt about 2 inches off of the floor. Good. Dig your heels in so much that you can lift your toes up so you're really in the glutes. And just like we did with the block now, pulse up, up, up. Little tiny pelvic thrust towards the sky. Digging your heels in, dragging your heels towards your seat. Contracting your abdomen back, little lifts up. You'll feel this in the outer legs, outer seat, little pulses. 20, 19, keep going. Little taps, up, up, up. These really gentle movements. You know, I haven't played with them in a long time because I lift really heavy normally, but I've been out and injured, and I've just started to be able to exercise again. And this kind of work is so potent right now in my recovery time, but it's reminding me how good this type of movement and exercise is, even when I'm not injured. I'm really excited to have it back into my world. I know I've kept you here. I'm distracting you with a story. Good. Hold it up. Nice. Squeeze your belly, and then lower your hips down into the floor. Pull both knees into your chest. So good. I totally lied to you. We're going to do one more exercise here for the abs. Lift your butt up and pop your hands underneath of your seat in a little triangle to support the low back. Both legs up to the sky. Point your toes. So this is called a corkscrew. So from here, I want you to imagine that both of your legs are glued together and they're one giant pencil now. Contract your low belly. Now from here, the circle is going to depend, how big the circle is going to depend on your strength and stability today. So it might be a really small circle or it might be bigger. We're going to start by going to the right. So you're going to take your toes towards you and then take both legs over to the right. You can see my left hip is lifting up. Now I'm going to dip my legs down, make a big circle, and scoop them up and around back to the top. Now we're going to reverse it. This is the part where the corkscrew comes in. Over to the left, down towards the ground, scoop it back up and lift. Back to the right. Make a big circle with your legs. And then to the left. So I'm going to let you go at your own pace. You're going to make big corkscrew circles. Again, your heels are staying glued together. Your two legs are one giant pencil. Moving around yourself. Big circle. Another moment here. Again, the circle is going to be determined, the size, by your stability today. So just honor where you're at. Let's go one more, over to the right and around, and to the left and around. Good, knees into your chest. Little massage of the lower back. Roll yourself all the way up to a seat. Very nice, and let's come to all fours. My mic is pulling my pants off. Good. It's like the constant problem. The mic packs are so heavy. Okay, have those weights nearby and grab one of them now. A little more gluteal work here on all fours. I want you to take one of the weights and put it just behind your knee. And again, if you don't have weights, that's no big deal. You can do all of this without a weight and create some resistance for yourself. Come down onto your forearms, interlace your fingers, and keep your elbows just as wide as your shoulders. Contract your abdomen back. And now lift your knee up just till you feel that sensation in the glute, but not so much I'm arching through the back. Lift it up and then tap the knee down. Lift it up, knee down. If you don't have the weight, I want you to move like you're moving through mud and really contract and create resistance for yourself. Keep the abdomen moving back, lifting and lowering right from the hips, squeezing the glute at the top. Last 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep reaching through the crown of the head. 3, 2, lift it up and hold. Good. Roll the knee open and back to the center. Roll the knee open a little and back to the center. So we're just rolling the femur in the socket for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the right knee down. Remove the weight. Take it in your hands in front of you. Send your seat back into a child's pose. You can let the weight fall. Moment in child's pose, stretching the back. Good. Right into the other side. Roll yourself back up to all fours. Place the weight behind your left knee. Come back down onto the forearms. Make sure your elbows are just under your shoulders. Contract your abdomen back. Lift the left knee up. Again, only so high as you feel the contraction in the glute, and you can maintain the integrity of the spine. Tap the knee down and lift it back up. Lift and lower. As you're moving, again, if you don't have that weight, make sure that you're creating resistance for yourself. Even without the weight, you can make this really hard work. Good. Let's go 8, 7, 6, lift it up, contract the belly. 5, last 4, last 3, last 2, and 1. Good. Lift it up and hold. Open the knee and back to the center. Swivel the knee and back to center. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So nice. Lower that back down. Remove the weight. Set it aside. Back to child's pose again. This time, take both of your hands over to the left. Shift your hips a little to the right. Open up the right side body. Good. Breath into the right ribs. Walk your hands over to the right, seat to the left. Press the left hip back. So good. Take your hands onto the mat. Press yourself up to all fours. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Take a moment and pedal through your feet, straightening one leg and then the other. And then give it a moment in the down dog. Lengthening the backs of the legs. Contracting the belly back. Good. Stretch your right leg up high to the sky. Take your heel to your butt and your knee to your nose and scoop your right knee forward. Step your right foot between your hands. Spin your right toes out. Take your left hand out nice and wide. And then open up your chest. Big spinal twist. Find a little back bend so there's a sense of opening your chest towards the front mirror. I don't know why I said mirror. I don't even have a mirror in here. Front of your mat is what I meant to say. Maybe you have a mirror. Open your chest. Good. Right hand back to the floor. Pivot the right toes back forward and line up your knee so it's right in your armpit, and then drop to your back knee. Press the top of your left foot into the floor and lift your chest up, Asana. Low lunge, low crescent. Drive your pubic bone forward. Beautiful. Hands down to the mat. Here, get your knee right in your armpit. Pick your right foot up and catch the ball of your foot in the palm of your hand. Keep the contact belly to thigh, and then shift your hips back, opening the hamstring. And now stretch your left fingertips way forward so you're opening up your left side body, and breathe. Couple nice big breaths. Rebend the right knee, step back, down dog. Lift your bum high. Open the backs of the legs. Good. Stretch your left leg up to the sky. Heel to butt, knee to nose to step your left foot through. So good. Drop to your back knee. Oop, not yet. Sorry. Turn your left toes open. I'm so excited. I haven't been on the mat to film in so long. Right hand open. Big spinal twist. Back bend a little bit towards the top of the mat. Left arm to the sky. Power through that back leg. Lift the back knee. Good. Nothing gives you appreciation for your body again than when you start to recover. Bring your left hand back down. Left toes forward. Drop to the back knee. Getting to come back and respect the injury, honor the body, and then also to start to love ourselves back to our strength and stability again. Press into the top of your right foot and unfold it. Lift your torso off of your thigh. Low lunge, pubic bone forward. Big expansive breath. So good. Hands back down to the mat. Get your knee in your armpit. Catch the ball of the left foot in the palm of the right hand. Take your right fingertips way forward so you're opening up the right side body, and shift your hips back. It's kind of like a half happy baby. 2 more big breaths. Good. Rebend the left knee, down dog. Once again. Take a moment, arch pelvic floor towards the sky. Lower down to all fours. Good. We're going to hit the arms a little bit and some final stretches, and we'll finish it out. Good. So here, you're now going to grab a block. Sorry for the pants fiddling. These were a poor choice for recording today. Place a block between your heels, and if you're using weights, you can grab them. If you're not using the weights, no problem. Again, you can create your own resistance. Grab your 2 weights and take them in your hands. If you're not using weights, just flip your palms towards the sky. And now you're going to hover your butt off of the block and squeeze the block with your heels. And now pull your elbows back behind you. And now drive your pelvis up to the sky. Lift your elbows parallel to the floor. Squeeze your butt, pelvic floor, pubic bone forward. Good. Now reverse that. Drag the elbows back. Hover your seat over the block. And then drive forward, lift the elbows up. Lower the seat and lift. Let's pick up the pace. Drop and lift. Drop and lift. Good. 10. Really squeeze on the way up. It's almost like you were shoveling dirt. You were going to throw something up and overhead. Squeeze your butt at the top. Let's take 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Hold it back. Good. Squeeze, lift the elbows up. So nice. Now straighten your legs. Or I guess that's not really straighten your legs. Straighten your hip. Come to stand on your knees. Very good. So squeeze the block with your heels so you're nice and active here. Once again, flip your palms and bend at your elbows. And now spin your arms open, palms towards the sky. I'm going to turn to so that my back is facing you. This is a really small movement. I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Little pulses. In, in, in. Little squeeze of the elbows. In, in, in. Super small movement. Keep pulsing. In an inch, in an inch. Palms to the sky. 10, 9. Squeeze that block. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold. Good. Swivel your palms to face one another. If you've got weights in your hands, you'll make fists so that the weights are up and down. If you're not holding weights, I can't say weights. I can't talk today. I'm so sorry. If you're not holding weights, make a fist. I was trying to say both words at once. Good. Now from here, we'll work the rotator cuff. So relax your upper traps, squeeze your palms in towards each other, and now open them up wide. Pull it in and open. In and open. Good. If you want to add the lower body, you can do the same action that we did with the glutes. Good. As you lower down, hug the weights towards your belly button and then lift it up. It's just layering on some more movement if you wish. Good. 10, 9, belly in. Drive the pubic bone forward, squeeze your butt. 5, 4, maybe see if you can tap your butt on the block for the last 3, 2, last one. Hold it up at the top. Very good. And now lower your arms down. Flip your palms open. We're going to take a little bicep curl here. If you want to make this more challenging, send your seat back behind you and just support and hold yourself. Squeeze it in and lower. Again, if you don't have weights, create resistance for yourself. Keep squeezing the shoulders down the back, broadening the collarbones for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Hold it up and squeeze. Lift your hips, lower the arms down. Super nice job. Roll out the shoulders. Relax a little bit. Very nice. Bend at the hip again, hinging at the waist. One more time. Take your arms forward. Keep your back nice and flat. Squeeze the elbows back and reach. Back and reach. Pull and reach. 10, 9, good. 8, 7, 6, create resistance. 5, 4, 3, 2. Good. Hold it back here. Now stretch your arms back behind you. Flip your palms to the sky. Pulse your hands up an inch. Up. 10, 9, 8, 7. Butt might be burning. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold. Good. Push all the way up. Nice job. Set those weights aside. Remove the block from between your heels. Very good. Downward facing dog. One more time. Hands on the mat, legs high. Just take a moment. Wiggle around as much as you like. And now walk your feet forward to your hands. Find a little bend in your knees. Measure 2 fists between the arches of your feet so you're hip distance apart. Take opposite palm to opposite elbow. Find a sense of lifting your buttock bones from the backs of your knees. So nice, big breath. Release your fingertips to the floor. Bend your knees deeply. Let your torso, head, pelvis, everything is just hanging towards the floor. Keep the torso heavy, bend the knees a lot, throw the knees forward, start to roll up. Drive the pubic bone forward to stand all the way up. Very nice. Stretch your arms up, interlace your fingers over your head, push your knuckles to the sky, especially those index fingers. You can wiggle around a little if you wish, just opening it up. Good. Take your arms back down to your side. And actually, let's come down to a seat for this last little bit. So grab your blankets again. I was getting ready to have you do it standing, but it's so much juicier seated. Have a seat on your blankets. Just a nice, comfortable, cross-legged seat. Take your right fingertips out to the side. Left fingertips to the left side of your head. You're not pulling on your head. Just very gently crawl the fingertips away and your left ear towards your left shoulder. Little stretch. Big, sweet breath. Tune into your body again. And back up to the center. Switch sides. Right hand to right ear. Left fingertips away from you. Pardon me, right hand to left ear. Stepped away from the camera for a few months. I'm just tripping over myself today. Hopefully you're still enjoying your workout. Good. Human moments, right? Everything's so polished and in life nowadays, heavily filtered and overdone. Come back up to the center. We could use more authentic, continuous failure and mistakes, as Roshi Joan Halifax, the great Zen teacher, says. Good. Have a seat on your blanket. And for a moment again, I want you to do the same thing we did at the beginning. Just start to look around your space a little bit. Land in your system. And rest your vision again. I'm going to turn to the side on something that is calming, neutral, or pleasant. Just land back in the body again, pelvis heavy, sense of perhaps weightiness in the body. Take a nice deep breath in, let it out. Good. Extend the legs. Hip distance apart. Get right on your perineum on the blanket. Take your arms up. Take a deep breath in. Hinge from your hip crease and fold forward. If you need to deepen it, wiggle your bum back rather than jamming the knees forward. As you rest here for a moment, be really present with the sensation in the body and the breath. Especially if you're struggling, it's so easy to want to run away, right? When there's pain present in the physical body, emotionally. But the only way to let things go, as they say, is to integrate them and let them in. To practice holding and being with ourselves even when it's tough. Lengthen the front of your spine and slowly sit up. Very good. One more moment here. Cross your legs again, sitting on your blanket. We're gonna, if you're not familiar with yoga breath techniques, we're gonna finish with something called a Kapalabhati breath. It's a forceful exhale. So if you've never done this before, put your hand on your belly and now pull your abdomen away from your hand and then relax it back into your hand. Now open your mouth, and as you do that, pull your navel point out and forcefully exhale out your mouth like this. And then let it go and let the breath come in. Okay, relax. So that's a really exaggerated version. Now we're going to do that through the nose with a little pulse back, and you'll feel the body will naturally inhale when you relax the contraction. So you're forcefully exhaling and really relaxing on the in-breath. So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in and begin. Keep going. You can have your eyes closed or 9/10 of the way closed. Try to relax your face and your shoulders and just think that you're clearing yourself out, 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 that you're emptying out any stagnation, anything that's no longer serving you, anything you want to leave on the mat today. Pause, take a deep breath in. 3 more sips through your mouth. 1 more sniff through your nose. Hold your breath. Squeeze your sex organs, your navel, pressurize your head, and now pop your cork out the crown of the head. Just give it a moment. Feel your body from the bottom to the top. When there's difficult sensation or difficult things happening, it's easy to focus on that. And so I know for me, as I'm recovering, I'm still in recovery, one practice I do every day is, what can I give gratitude for about my body that is not something it accomplishes for me, right? Because we get so fixated on the outward ideals of how things look or of what we can do and produce. But what can you be grateful for your body that isn't about what you can do or accomplish? And if you need some inspiration, it might be gratitude for the way you get to experience delicious food, or gratitude for the sensation of the air on your skin. Something that speaks to your being instead of your doing. Bring a hand to heart and a hand to belly and just feel the body. Rub your hands together in front of your face, nice and vigorous. And then when you're ready, cup your palms over your eyes, fingertips on your hairline. Open your eyes behind your hands, letting in the dark. Release your palms, let in the light, and welcome yourself back. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you again soon.